Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Closing the First Deal. Today, we have the honor of having the one, the only Stacie Bel, who has her very own podcast, The Stacie Bel Show. And we're going to be interviewing and talking about her very first deal. So, with that being said, let me introduce myself. My name is Holly. My co host is Dr. Gavin Adams. And I would love it if you guys would hit the subscribe button and like, comment, stuff to get engagement. With that being said, Gavin, take it away.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Stacie. Can you elaborate on what inspired your real estate journey?
Yes, so I've lived with my parents my whole life, so I never like rented an apartment, none of that. And for the most part when I lived with my parents, I had my own room, but like after I graduated college, I had to share a room with my parents and I was like this ain't it. Like I'm like 23, like this is not a flex. So like it just encouraged me to like want to start saving up because with inflation like rent prices constantly keep going up. And I'm like, why would I leave my parents' house to go pay a lot of money in rent when I can just save up and pay a mortgage that's way cheaper than rent and something that I can build like generational wealth. It can give me passive income and etc. A whole bunch of other things. So that was like my main goal. And I also felt like it would be a flex to say, I've never rented an apartment before. I just
Yes,
went
it
straight to being a
is.
homeowner. So, I don't have that struggle of people who pay rent. So more like flexing rights, bragging rights, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. That's smart that what you did because most people they want to just say that they have an apartment, so they'll move out, they'll be paying the rent, but then they're living paycheck to paycheck with no way of saving. So yeah, I do encourage people like if you're gonna stay at home, at least use that time to like put your money
Oh,
together, put a
yeah.
plan. Yeah.
That's when you gotta take advantage because you're not paying rent when you live with your parents, right? I mean, unless
Sometimes,
some of us,
sometimes.
if you're Caribbean parents, they want you to pitch in a little bit, but it's
Yeah, they
not as much as
do.
what you would pay outside in the real world. It's a little more doable. Like I think I had to pay my parents like $200 a month or something. But you can save more giving $200 a month paying 1,500 a month. You get what I'm
I
saying? Like
hear
it's
you.
a difference. So yeah.
So for your first property, I guess, can you elaborate more on your financial approach for buying your first property? Like I know you mentioned you stayed at your parents, but what was your strategy past that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last couple words you said. Can you repeat that again?
I said, so what was your strategy for saving for your first property besides
Um,
like living at home?
Yeah, I just every time I got paid, put money to the side and I was like, my goal is to save up like 10K. That was like my magic number. And the magic number 10K was because I'm like, that should be able to cover closing costs and what's the other thing? Damn, why am I getting a brain fart? Closing costs, something else. Like there's
Down
like
payment.
down payment, yes. So I was like, yeah, that's like the perfect number for me. So that was my reasoning. I was like, once I hit 10K, I ended up saving a little bit more than 10K. I was like, I'm ready. Like the money's there. Like let's start house hunting.
So, when you started house hunting, did you go with a realtor that you knew, or how did you find your realtor?
That's a good question. So my realtor is actually my older sister's realtor. So my older
Oh.
sister referred me to her realtor. So I was like, she helped my sister in her process. So and she's referring her. So I trust her. That's someone who's been around my family who has good intentions as well with my realtor. That's one thing
Mhm.
I really applaud and commend her because she's not one of those realtors that's just sees you as a money sign and trying to like make money off of you. Like there were times in the process where like I was just so anxious to get out my parents' house and like get my own place that like I was like I really want this and she's like no, like you're pushing it, like you're going to be cash poor, like I see you as my daughter, so like I don't want you like making it by the skin of your teeth. And it's like that I have a lot of respect for her looking out for me like that because another realtor could just been like, yeah, get it. And then it don't matter because some of them only care about closing the deal. After that, what about sustaining it? It's like getting a
Mm,
brand new car. Like, yeah, you can go flex getting a Mercedes, but when you getting it repo 2 months later, that's not a flex. Like,
not a flex
can
at all.
you maintain making the payments on it? So I want to buy a house and then I'm like homeless, was only in it for a month. You know what I'm saying? So I really respect her for like treating me like a daughter and having like that mom, like, you know, I really like, they wanted to make sure the numbers wasn't too tight. It wasn't crunching, and like I could still enjoy living, doing things on the side and not just working just to keep a roof over my head, you know?
So you
Yeah,
mentioned
that's
you mentioned your sister having a house. You
Yes.
mentioned your parents or your mom having a house. Was this a norm for you growing up? Did you think about owning a home when you were younger? How, like, what role did your parents and your sister owning a house play in your life?
Yeah, so when I was living with my parents, like I said, when I did share a room with them, they didn't own a house. They were renting an apartment. But in the past, when I was younger, they did used to own a 3-family house and another condo. Like they were into owning, and then after that sold it and then started renting again. But I think what really led me to homeowning is like my older sister. She was telling me, you know, like when you while you're living with mom and dad, like you really should think about buying a house. Like that's a really good thing to do and stuff like that, you know, like don't wait, like, you know, like she kind of put it in my ear. I didn't think about it. Like she was telling me like don't waste your money on like buying stuff. Even my dad would tell me like stop buying sneakers, heels, and it's like buy something that has like a later investment that will like make you money in the future. And it's like, wow, yeah, he has a point, because like I feel like, you know, at society we can get caught up in just wanting to have like the latest things, designer fashion, but like at the end of the day, it really doesn't bring you any value. Like you make no profit. It's just like the minute you buy a car, it loses value once you get it off the lot. But owning a house is something that, you know, gets value through time. You gain equity on it. So she really opened my mind, and I was like, you know what? She's right. Like, let me be conscious with how I'm spending my money. So she really put the bug in my ear, my older sister, like, you know, getting a place, because I would always complain, like, I don't have my own privacy, sharing a room with my parents. And she's like, well, if you don't like a situation, you get out of it. And, you know, at first I was thinking rent an apartment with a roommate, but like, no, sometimes when you rent an apartment with a friend of yours, that could like end the relationship, because you don't know how like friends are when it comes to living. So it's like,
Mhm.
I'd rather just live on my own and be on my own accord, my own time. So yeah, like shout out to my older sister Trish for putting the bug in my ear. And yeah.
So it sounds like we definitely have to interview Big Sis, especially
Sure.
because she inspired you. We definitely want to inspire our followers and anyone who actually gets the opportunity to view our videos. But I wanted to ask, you mentioned your parents owning a 3-family. Did you
Mhm.
end up closing on a multi-family or a single family residence?
I actually ended up buying a condo. I looked into all 3 of those, like 3-family, single family, and I felt like for my situation, you know, I'm a single woman, I'm not married. I felt like condo was the best bet for me to get my foot wet to see what home ownership is like, because I personally stress out easily about a lot of things, and like I ain't ready to try to go fix gutters and stuff. Like I feel like maybe I'll wait when I have a husband and then use this condo as passive income, be like, babe, the gutters, go check that, please. You know, like I don't want to have that stress. So I like with condos, I don't have to worry about plowing myself out the snow. They take care of that. They do the dumpster, all that. Like I just worry about my 4 walls, my unit, which I'm in right now in the living room, you know, so quick flex. But
So,
yeah. I'm in my house
so
right now. We're talking about home ownership. You know, I'm in the comfortable living room right now, you know?
I
So,
love it. I love
yes.
it. I also love that you are so aware of yourself and what you're capable, like what's your strong suits, what's not. Because a lot of people, they'll just get into a house just to say, oh, I have a house with like 4 bedrooms and blah, 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 and not realizing the maintenance that it takes. You know, you have to have the extra cash flow to keep up with it. So knowing yourself is definitely important. So that's good. I appreciate that. So, what was your experience as you closed on your first deal?
Oh my gosh, it felt amazing. It's like, wow, like I really just like bought like my own place. Like I was 27 years old. I closed on my house November 19th, 2021. So it's like, wow, like this was like long awaited. Like it just felt like the biggest accomplishment ever. And like
Mhm,
I also saw it as like, wow, I'm young too, and I'm a single woman. Okay. Like the percentage of single women is not a lot who buy a house, because a lot of people buy a house with their spouse, or even boyfriend and girlfriends are buying a house together. But like no, I did this by myself and by the grace of God. So like, to me, that was even another flex. Like, I did this on my own. There's no one helping me, So like,
Yeah.
I don't have like a dual income where like my husband's like, no. So like that in itself is like another huge accomplishment. And I also saw it as like, wow, like I see it, like I always say this to my friends, like when I have children, I want them to do better than me and I want their children to do better. So like, I think at my age, I was younger than before my parents bought a house. They might've been in their 30s when they bought a house. So like that already shows that they did their job with me, that I got it at a younger age. And I hope my younger brother, who's younger than me, can like close on a house in 2 or 3 years and be like 24 and say he bought a house, like I hope it gets better, like as it trickles down. Like that's how it's supposed to be. Like we're supposed to just keep doing better and better.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we were just talking about that on a previous podcast about how like it's up to the children to like live up to like what their parents did as the foundation and then add to it and like
And do
continue
better, like do
better.
better. Like, all right,
Yes.
bet my parents bought a house at 40, I bought it at 27. Like, look it right there. You know what I'm saying? So
I
yeah,
hear you. I hear you. So another thing you were saying is like so you did it on your own, which is a major kudos to you for that. That's a major flex right there. What did you have to do differently with your finances now that you live by yourself? Like, did you have to like well, I guess I have multiple questions, but did you have to fix up the place or was it move-in ready?
it was moving ready.
Oh, that's
The
good.
Lord, yeah. And it's funny because I didn't realize when I was buying a house, when I bought the condo, I walked in and it was empty and I realized, yeah, I don't have furniture. I lived with my mom. I can't take her furniture. So it was actually easy moving because it's like, okay, now I have an excuse to buy furniture and stuff versus like getting a moving truck and stuff. So like I was just able to shop, like everything's fresh and brand new. So I just went to Cardi's, went to Ashley Furniture Home Store, ordered the stuff, then the delivery came, and it was an easy settlement moving. Like all I had to move in was myself and my clothes and a mattress, because that's all I had. I didn't have anything else, like I said, because like I said, I lived with my parents my whole life, and I didn't realize when I walked in, I'm like, wait, why is this place empty? I'm like, oh yeah, I have furniture. And I'm like, and I can't take my mom's furniture. That's hers, So it like clicked in my head, but it was great. I recommend, well, I mean, if you already have furniture, obviously you need the moving truck, but like, hey, your parents take advantage because that's an easy move-in. Like you literally just like, walk in.
That is an easy one. And I remember when you posted that you bought your house, I was so excited for you. And then I got to see through your YouTube page, the Stacie Bel Show. She actually renovated the place. So it's
Yes,
beautiful. She did a
yes,
great job, especially
yes.
the black wall. Like I would have never thought of having a black wall. Like it
Yeah,
looks
it's
so good.
actually navy blue. Everyone
Navy
thinks
blue,
it's black, but
sorry.
it's actually navy blue. But yes, it's so funny story real quick. Everyone loves that wall. When I bought this house, I absolutely hated that wall because it wasn't this color. It was off-white and it looked so tacky. I remember I even had my older sister call a guy to come look at it to see if we can like scrape this wall off because I hated it. And the way he described it, how much money it was going to be in the process, I was
You're
like,
like,
oh, this sounds like mad money. I'm getting stressed out already. I just bought a house. I'm just trying to get this stressed. So my sister's like, you know what? Let's just paint it a different color. Sometimes just making little, spruce ups like that will make a difference. And I'm like, okay. We started painting it. I'm like, all right, it looks good now. Like, it's crazy how just tweaking one little thing can make a huge difference in something. Sometimes all you just need is a little paint to bring something to
yeah.
life. Yeah.
That is true. Little paint, different counters. It makes the place look like
Yes. Yup. It's the little things that make such a big difference. Oh my gosh. Even decorum, things like that, all that stuff.
So is interior decorating or renovation something that you do?
My older sister definitely helped me when it came to the interior designing and stuff like that. So shout out to Trish if y'all need some recommendations. I mean, I love shopping for furniture and stuff, but my older sister and her husband did most of the painting. I did a little bit of it. I'm not really too hands-on. I did like some sections and I was like, yeah, y'all got the rest, because I was like, it's really not my strong suit.
So earlier
No.
earlier in the interview, you alluded to purchasing properties, bigger properties, not a condo. Is that something that you have on your horizon? Are you waiting until you have a partner to do so? Or do you feel like since you've wet your feet, per se, you can now think about purchasing a multifamily home?
I do actually want to buy another property, even if it's before I find my husband. That's like something I've been thinking about in the works. I just want to take my time, like, cause me, I'm also mindful. Like, I don't like to be in debt and stuff. So like, I gotta make sure the money's right and like everything's lined up. I thought about whether it was a multifamily or maybe even another condo I bought, and I just have like a tenant living in there, just like giving me passive income. That's like another idea. But I do plan on purchasing other property in the future for sure. Like I want to have a real estate portfolio. I want to have multiple properties, and like I don't even want to sell my condo. Like I want to pay it off and pass it down to my children so they already have a place to live in and stuff like that. Like that generational wealth, like it stays in the family and we have assets.
There is a gentleman that I follow. Um, he invests in nothing but condos, which was to me was strange. I never met anyone or heard of anyone only investing in condos, but he says it pretty much keeps his workload down because he pays the board. They take
Yep.
care of the trash. He never
Yep.
has to shovel. He doesn't have to deal with maintenance. It's
Mhm.
just finding the right board who would actually allow you to sublease your condo.
Exactly. That's why I like it with, because like you said, it's not much, like they're taking care of all that. So there was actually a condo they were selling upstairs for me, but I'm like, now's not the time for me to buy. But I went to the open house just to go look at it. Like they were selling a few, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to get another unit in here because where I'm located, it's a good neighborhood. It's quiet. I'm next to everything. Stop and Shop, Cumberland Farm, Shell gas station, the highway's right there. Like it's a good area. Like it's great. Yes, that's actually smart. Like that's the thing. I want to have condos. I want to have multifamilies. That's what I mean by a real estate portfolio. Like I want to have like everything.
Yes, I love it. Keep dreaming, girl. We all want that. We do want that. I mean, Gavin, pretty much, he's there, but all right. So what does generational wealth mean to you? And what role has it played in your life?
Wow, I like that question. Generational wealth to me is, my family like doing even better, breaking down like old habits and creating new habits that's better and successful for our future. And like we're just building that wealth. Like we're not struggling no more. Like we good. Like I'm in a position like I bought my mama a house. Like she was taking care of me, but I bought my mama a house. Like that is generational wealth. Like keeping the money within the family. Like it's a lot to me. Like doing better, being successful, keeping it in the family, having assets, like all that stuff. When you keep the money flowing in the family,
Yes,
rich, I'm
yes.
rich. You
Create
know
a
what I'm
family
saying?
bank.
Yes, yes.
They were actually talking about that, creating a family bank, and like there's like ways that you could create a trust, and via the trust you make it so that obviously we're all going to pass away, but when you die, it's an easier passage to transfer the money from one person to the next person without having to go into like probate. So that's something that I've been doing a lot of research on and just gaining more knowledge about it because I want to do it. I'm just like, I only know a few people have done it, so I'm like learning.
Yeah, definitely do your research, like you said. Like, don't rush into it. Like, do all your research, and when you're ready, like you'll know. Just like I said earlier, I'm like, yeah, there was other condo units like for sale, but I'm like, it's not a good time for me yet. Like, I need to,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, when the time is right, I'll know. But that's definitely down the road, and there's no rush. Like, I already have a property. Like, property is gonna constantly be being sold. Like, it's not going nowhere.
That
It's
is true. That is true. No
it's
need for a scarcity mindset.
Exactly, because there's always gonna be an excess of something. Like even my dad used to tell me, like, I used to get mad if I missed out on a party, and he's like, Stacie, there's always gonna be parties. They ain't never gonna not be a party. I'm like, that's true. There's always parties. So I always had that FOMO, like fear of missing out. But I'm like, he's right. If I miss this party, there'll be another one 2 weeks later. So yeah, that's how I see it. There's gonna be a property that's meant for me. Like, what's for you? Nothing can come in between it. It's for you.
So, what type of advice would you give your 15-year-old self and your 25-year-old self?
Oh, okay. 15-year-old. Okay, so the advice I would give my 15-year-old self is to start thinking about like finances, because that's something they don't teach us in high school. And that's like something you learn like the hard way in the real world or like through family. And the reason why I say that is because when I was like turned 18 and I was in college, I think I was trying to apply for a credit card, but someone told me like like not having any credit is bad credit. And I'm like, what? Like I had no idea. Like they don't teach you these things in school. And I feel like they should teach these things to high schoolers because these are real life applications. Cause like a lot of the stuff they teach you in high school, like geometry and stuff, unless you're like gonna be an architect or a construction worker, like that stuff doesn't apply. But like opening a checking account is real life stuff. Opening a credit card, having good credit or bad credit, that's all like real life stuff. Like without good credit, you're not gonna get nothing. Like you ain't gonna get no
Sure.
$0. Like your APR, your interest, your percentage rate is gonna be like off the wall. It's gonna be impossible to pay things off. Like I wish they taught us things like that in high school, like about interest, finances. Like I think that's something that they should incorporate in the school system to better equip our kids for the future, like when they get out and go into college. Like high school did not prep me for college at all. So like just looking into finances, like opening checking, like just things like that, I would start saying like to my 15-year-old self, like start playing chess, not checkers, because like at that age, all we care about is like sneakers and like parties, and we're not thinking like down the line in the future, things like that. Like I would say even like if as a 15-year-old you have a part-time job, start saving up to get a car or start saving up for college, like start saving up for those like milestones in life. That's what I would give my 15-year-old self advice. So then from there, throughout college, now you can start saving up for a house next because like you've already done what you needed to do,
And 25.
25. Yeah, I would at 25, well, it's hard to tell me that because I feel like around that age I started thinking about the house. It was like around 25 or so. I feel like it took me like a year and a half to save up and stuff. But yeah, I would basically think the bigger picture at 25. My advice would be just like flex and see what you can do, buying multiple properties and stuff like that to my 25-year-old self. Like start thinking bigger.
Now you already alluded to goals you want to accomplish in the
Yeah.
future, but this is a fun part. This portion of our interview is intended for you to look back at this 10 years from now and say, yeah, I did that. I'm proud of myself, or I need to continue working towards that. So what goal would you like to set for yourself to accomplish over the course of the next decade?
What goals I want to set? Definitely buying more property, like I said. Maybe like when I say property, I'm thinking residential, but maybe I can even think of like places for like businesses, or maybe considering like rental halls. Maybe like that could be another part of real estate I look into
Put a
too.
number,
Besides,
put a number on it, and make sure it's something that would make you nervous, so you actually have something to work towards and not something that you're going to accomplish in 3 years.
what do you mean? Put a number on what?
If you're saying you want commercial space, then how many? If you're saying you want residential units or properties, then how many and where?
Okay, so residential units, I'm gonna say 2 or 3. Commercial space, 1.
That's good. That's good. So now, when you turn 40, you could come back to this video on YouTube and see where you at and, reflect on
Yeah.
that. Like, did you
And what
accomplish
if I exceed it? I'm gonna be like, we need to do another episode if I exceed it. Be like, surpass the 3,
I love the
Yeah,
sound of that.
I love the sound of that. That is awesome.
So yeah, I'm
That's
excited.
good. That is good. I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure interviewing you. So for you guys that are watching, definitely make sure to follow Stacie at the Stacie Bel Show here on YouTube. She does lifestyle reels and stuff like that, home DIYs, you name
Travel, everything, girl. Interviews, food reviews, everything. Get a
You
little
want
bit
to share?
Stacie
Do you
Bel
want to
Show.
share your IG as well?
Yes. So my Instagram is authentic_STACE. authentic_Stace.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
IG handle.
Thank you so much for joining. For everyone watching, please subscribe and make sure you hit the thumbs up. Let us know what you like, what you learned, what you took away from this podcast. And thank you. Bye. Till
Yes,
next
thank you.
time.